Welcome back to Nick Lenz, Comic Corner Classic, Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2172 and Doubleshot number 2066. I got two Batman trades. First is a finale for Batman series. The other is a start of Batman era. First that we have is Robin, Volume 3 by Josh Williamson, Secrets and Shadows. This book collects issues 13 to 17 of Robin. Yeah, basically the last 5 issues of the series. Well, this run anyways. And here's the thing. 13, 14, I'm not going to discuss those issues because they're part of the Shadow War crossover. And I kind of felt as though putting those issues in here was kind of a mistake on the part of DC. Because I was curious for the longest time what was going to be in this trade. And I get the trade and I'm like, really? Oh, and by the way, you know that really awesome special that Tomasi did where he had Robin and Superman? Where it basically sort of a finale for Super Sons? Guess what? Still not in trade. This ever came out last year. I would have thought this book would have been perfect to put it in here. Nope. Now, the final 3 issues is basically this. 15 is basically an epilogue to Shadow War, where apparently we have it where Talia surrenders as events of Shadow War and basically she goes on the run, becomes an agent of the O. The last couple issues mostly put are this. Just basically Robin dealing with apparently like Lord Deathman shows up at Lazarus Island, where like he shows up there and apparently Flatline's trying to kill Lord Deathman. And it turns out it's actually a big lie. Yep, he lied. And they go, went to see Flatline. He's like, what are you talking about? And they take him back, and it turns out that apparently Lord Deathman apparently is from a relationship with Damien's great-grandmother. Yes, seriously. Apparently that was this woman he was in love with, Damien's great-grandmother, which seems kind of gross. Though he's made at the very end, and it's still implied in here that Flatline and Damien look like they could become a couple, but who knows? But the book ends with a setup for Batman vs. Robin. A mini-series done by Josh Williamson, which later they had to basically have the final issue put on hold because of the crossover Lazarus Planet. And after that concluded, we had the final issue of Batman vs. Robin. Then we have the start of a brand new series, Batman and Robin, by Josh Williamson, which, by the way, is the third ongoing series during this year because first he gets Superman, Josh Williamson, and then he gets Green Arrow, and now he's getting Batman and Robin, which I think is awesome. Now, my final thoughts on this Robin series by Josh Williamson. This run was fantastic. Not a bad issue, the whole series. The first 12 issues are basically a complete story arc in a way that he did. He did mention to me that that was the whole point of it. This topic, yes, it was basically 2 volumes taking up the first story arc. It's basically the best way to describe the Lazarus tournament is that it's mostly a love letter to Chuck Dixon comics. Well, Batman comics per se. We're bringing like almost every single character. Oh, by the way, Connor Hawke is featured in here, but he has to go back to Star City. Probably because basically Josh Williams wants him up for his Green Arrow book. Possibly. Though I should point out, though, Connor Hawke, it looks like he's a bit younger in this continuity than he was previously. He looks like he's about the same age as Damien this Savik. In pre-Flashpoint, he was older than Damien. I think Connor Hawke must be in his mid-20s, I'd say. Here he's about mid-teens. Not sure why. His mother does exist in the continuity, Sandra Hawke. She appeared in a one-shot comic. But in the case of Connor Hawke himself, he was okay in this series. Williamson apparently did not know this at all because he assumed Chuck Dixon created Connor Hawke because he wrote his run. It wasn't until I told him this that apparently Connor Hawke was not created by Chuck Dixon, but by Kelly Pudick, who created another popular character that all fans of DC Comics love this very day, Cassie Kane, Batgirl. Yep, created her too. And the fact that at one point these two want to become a couple. And I do appreciate, though, that the writer himself basically... Now, he apparently didn't know that. I'm not going to call him stupid. And all Williamson, he probably assumed that because he wrote the run. But it was all Kelly Pudick. And one thing I do appreciate with this run is like a lot of the fighters, with the exception of a small handful in that tournament, were in fact creations of Chuck Dixon. it's basically expressing his love for Chuck Dixon and stuff. Can't say the same thing for DC higher ups, apparently trying to blacklist him for being conservative. Yes. Oh, by the way, if you're curious though, I didn't know this until this recently. You know the whole thing with Tim taking me out of his buy? Chuck Dixon hated that. I have heard a rumor that the reason why I did that was basically to spite him. Yep, that was simply the reason for it. Alright, now moving on to, that book is great. And this book is also really good too. Though I did hear after this arc wraps up, the artist leaves the book, and the sales do a dip. Yes, because for the longest time, DC loves when this book is number 1. But then it becomes number 2 thanks to Amazing Spider-Man for some reason. I don't know why. We have Batman by Chip Zdarsky, Volume 1, Failsafe. Now, this is not the first Chip Zdarsky book that he did for Batman. He also did Batman the Knight, which one issue of the book implied that he was going to turn Bruce Wayne gay, like involving passing a note via mouth. And I read the issue, I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not what happens. It's the guy with him about to kiss Bruce, a part of undercover job, and like, am I interrupting something? Now, it goes nowhere. Now, apparently people don't like Chuck Dixon because of, not Chuck Dixon, Chip Zdarsky because of that. But this book is fantastic. I'm like, wow. Oh, by the way, Tim Drake is here as Robin. Oh, you might find this really cool, though. You know the whole stupid thing where he's like buying his own book? Here, never mentioned. It's like, all the Batman writers like realize, though, that was stupid. If she wants to do it with his own book, fine. But this book, no mention. So I'll bring up the whole thing of Failsafe, and of course that also that we have Cowboy in the hospital. This definitely feels like it's like Zdarsky basically is channeling stuff related to Grant Morrison, which of course was a reference to Grant Morrison's story a couple of them anyways here. So apparently in the old Batcave there was this robot called Failsafe who activated, and of course also the opening scene of this book takes place right after the events of JLA Tower Babel. If you're curious about that story, that was a story where Ra's al Ghul found out about Batman's contingency plans against Justice League, and he got expelled from Justice League for it, despite the fact he actually resigned. Yeah, though he was welcome back later on, after we forgave him. And Justice League do play a small role in this book because of Failsafe. And of course, Green Arrow himself is here. So, there's that. It's probably also the first Justice because there were any member of Justice League I can think of. Yeah, so basically, Failsafe was a robot to supposedly on Batman. So basically, Bruce Wayne decides to activate something to take down Failsafe, who is basically a robot. Now, what is the active? Of course, deal with Clayface in here and Cowpot. So then, of course, we have Failsafe, who makes the debut at the end of issue 1. He's just a robot. But at the end of part 2, we have also guest appearance by Batman family. We have Nightwing, we have Barbara here. So Bruce goes off and comes back as the Batman of Zoral. Yes. Which is the first time Bruce has assumed his identity since Batman R.I.P. Which is explained here. Bruce created this particular thing as an alternate personality, as a backup deal with Failsafe. So, and of course, Tim Drake's like, oh, I read about you in the Black Case files, which is so nice to basically do. So they had to try to Justice League take him down, and at one point he tried to go to space to get his javelins. Now I think Zdarsky is forgetting the fact that now when the news came out, I think Justice League had not been disbanded at this point in time. But here's the thing: this point last year, the Justice League not been headquartered in space in a long time. They were headquartered on Earth in the Hall of Justice because the satellite was destroyed, and then it was mysteriously rebuilt in the pages of Checkmate. Yes, in the miniseries, actually was Event Leviathan, where somehow it's been rebuilt and it's abandoned. So apparently, no javelins available, so apparently it comes back to Earth, and Superman gets involved in the story. But this book is just really, really good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. It is that good. Oh, this book, also give it a 10 out of 10 as well. But this is just the start of Zardesky's run. Next arc is really weird, where he goes into Earth, and he apparently puts on the Batman. He puts on the Gotham a Gaslight costume. Yeah, for some reason, puts on that costume for some reason. Now, this Batman storyline I love so much. It is so awesome. I love it. I think Zardesky was a good choice. I was kind of surprised he decided to do Batman, especially since he was also doing Daredevil, but then I heard in the solicits by issue 12 of this current volume, which, by the way, I think issue 9 was the last issue I read, he has 3 more issues to come out, and he's done. Yeah, apparently his Daredevil run for this volume is going to end with issue 12. And I'm like, that's interesting. Which makes this the shortest run on a Daredevil book for a volume. Probably not since Mark Waid's second volume for his run. Yeah, that was 18 issues, was freaking 12. Yep, but these two are really good books. I love them. I think Zardesky reading this book was definitely a good choice to replace Josh Williamson. We were surprised that we replaced Williamson with Chip Zardesky, who's really good. Now, I've heard nothing but praise for Zardesky's run so far for Batman. Which, yeah, though Batman the Night, I've heard is not very good. I haven't reviewed it yet, but I've read it. But, yeah, I'll review it at some point. But both books are really good. Okay, so that's episode review. Next up, I'm going to do a couple manga reviews. And then I'm going to do also my 3 anime reviews, which are Eden Zero, One Piece, and Demon Slayer. Okay? Those come in a bit, right? Thanks for viewing. Bye.